Good afternoon and welcome. Season 2, episode 28 of Cattle Drive Live. And tonight, myself, Brett Carter, has got the privilege to be a host with my good friend and just neighbor of a few miles up the road. Todd Kennedy is with us tonight. Uh, Myself, Corey Thompson, Paige, and my wife, Lacey. The endeavor here at Cattle Drive Live. Tonight, you're going to get to hear current events in ag. A very short but explosive herd report. Get to hear from the crew at EX and an impressive Lackey pig sale. Interviews from, as I like to call it, it's like the daytime soap opera, Todd. It's the bold and the beautiful. The bold, Dr. Ryan Rathmann, and the beautiful, Kyndal Reitzenstein is with us tonight to talk to us about market steer shows. Melissa is with us with the crew from 605 Sires and Donors, our corporate partners, and you're going to get to hear a lot from them with their Sexton Lab, the feedback that they're getting, and what's exciting coming up this fall at 605. Just so you know, this episode brought to you by The Drive Marketing. I mentioned earlier, we've got a special co-host. Todd Kennedy is with us. Todd, good to have you.
Well, thank you, Brett. Appreciate you asking me to join alongside you here tonight.
Absolutely. You guys do a great job with Kennedy Ventures. Your boy Blake, he's asked us to work with him a few times, and I knew if the opportunity ever presented to you guys to come help us, I wanted to extend that olive branch. And when I texted you earlier this week, I was excited when you said, hey, I'd be more than happy. But for those that don't know you, tell us about what you do. Tell us who you are, what you do, the whole 9 yards behind Todd Kennedy.
Well, I tell people all the time my daytime job consists of the fact I'm the national sales manager for Showright Feeds.
Okay.
I've worked with Showright and the brand now going on for 18 years. Those that don't know a lot about Showright or know everything about Showright is we're a division of Alltech. Took that venture on there about 5 years ago through an acquisition, and it allowed us to join forces with them. So I have responsibilities not only on the Showright side day to day, but obviously with Alltech as well. So that's what I do. People relate and put me a lot of times. They'll tag me obviously with Kennedy Ventures. That's actually Blake's gig now. Now that he's got into the real world and put his big boy pants on, I guess, so to speak. But no, that's what Kennedy Ventures is. That the only thing that's a little different now that we've took a little bit of a turn and what that the public will start seeing is my wife and I will actually take over and manage everything that's Kennedy sales. So I know it gets a little confusing from time to time, but that's how we do that. And that way we can keep all of our businesses separate and hopefully we're going to understand it one of these days, and then maybe it'll catch on to everyone else. So
I gotcha. Yeah, you good. So the Kennedy sales side of it, it says offering the best experience for buyer and seller. Is this a sales management part of the business?
Right. Yeah. So it is. And, what it is my wife and I have done the pig sales, obviously, for quite some time. And, for about 25 years now, I guess. We've been married for 30 years. So 25 years we've done pig sales off and on. And as we was developing our business plan here, and like I said, as Blake and Caitlin got married, and as the side of Kennedy Ventures actually started to define itself, we knew that we was going to have a separate leg there, and that's where the Kennedy sales come in. So basically, from that standpoint, we basically own the Perfect Timing Pig Sale, we own the She Sale, and then the Sweetheart Sale is the three pig sales that we own. And that's how we handle that. Then obviously, Kennedy Ventures, in terms of Blake and all of his marketing attributes will obviously follow with us. But that'll allow him to go on. He does, he's more into the service side of things. I mean, he does a lot more service work for people, and in terms of putting whole sales together. So that's kind of how we did that. I wanted to make sure it stayed separate. and certainly give him a path to take and run with. So.
Well, good deal. Well, there's no doubt you guys have got Blake, put him in a position to further himself. But the kid's super talented, and what he's done with that, just in his short amount of time, it's very impressive. And so, congratulations to mom and dad. There, you guys raised a good one. So.
His mom, he's got a real good mom, so that's what I always
Well, I
tell
would say the
him.
maternal genetics are strong,
Yeah,
for sure.
it is. It is.
Yeah, you bet. Hey, this episode, I told you earlier, brought to you by the Drive Marketing, and that's something you're going to see a lot of this probably by morning time. You're going to start to see some marketing of the Drive Marketing and what some people have had to say about that. We're excited to get this out in front of you. We're excited for what's to come this fall with the Drive. And so, with that being said, we're going to roll into segment one. It's called The Coffee Shop. It's current events within ag. And if you followed Cattle Drive Live at all over the last 60 days, our co-host on here, Corey Thompson, was dealt an odd hand a few months ago with some neck cancer. He has been battling that. He is in front of it. I got a really cool video to cue here of something that he got to do Friday that was big for him and his family and the Cattle Drive family as well. That guy completed his chemo and radiation on Friday. There was no greater joy for me to get that video from him and to see that look on his face, that part of his life and that chapter for now is behind him, Todd.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, there's so many people that I'm sure that's watching or will watch this over time. I mean, not only it's had so many thoughts and prayers go towards to Corey, but, just to bring it into perspective, the number of people that, the families that deal with that, and they know how special that is to get to walk through there and ring that bell. And, that has, whether they've had those challenges themselves or family members, they know what that means, and we're certainly proud to hear that how he's accomplished and how he's coming through this, and like I said, the many thoughts and prayers from so many people that's directed him that way.
Yeah, yeah, he's on the mend. Those of you wanting to know, he's all good on texting. His voice on the radiation's a little shaky. He was wanting to give it a week or maybe two to just sit back and relax just a little bit, and with all things like that brings opportunity to have people like Todd on tonight as well. So, hey, we're going to continue on moving through over the next couple of weeks. As we said last week in the rodeo world, Kentucky, you're up. Colorado, Minnesota, you are still on deck. South Dakota, Nebraska, you are in the hole. Tulsa better be getting it on your mind. It's right around the corner. And so State Fair run is all but over, Todd. But I'll tell you what is starting to heat up is sale season. And tell me about this TikTok video I see this morning from a pig sale in Texas.
Right. Well, the pig sale season, believe it or not, has started, and used to that was never anything that was ever thought about until we got past September and maybe even into October, and things have just continued to creep up. And I know you guys have seen the same thing in the cattle world, and the calendar, it seems like anymore, doesn't really mean anything when you're scheduling a date, because it just gets earlier and earlier and sooner. Everything progresses, but we have, as you mentioned, the swine industry's already seen a healthy start to the show pig selling season. We're about 3 weeks in now. Particularly the sale this last weekend certainly raised eyebrows of many. Several great consigners there participated there at the Lackey sale there with him and his friends. They have a farm sale there in Haskell, and the TikTok that you was referring to actually happened to be of a Barra that the canal firm there in Illinois had. Brings 130,000. So I think to my knowledge and to everybody else, that would have to be a new record for a Barra to sell for. So, but that one
So
did. And
that Barra, real quick, that Barra bring 130,000, which is it's incredible. I love to hear that. I love to hear optimism this time of year. Everybody's optimistic they're buying the one. Endpoint wise, where does that pig go?
I don't know. That's such a challenge to detect nowadays and to pick where you go. You almost just kind of got to feed them and show them where they land. But I would say that one probably would have a forecast somewhere around the San Antonio mark.
Okay, gotcha. Texas major
Oh
somewhere in
yeah,
there.
no doubt, Texas major.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay.
So, and that wasn't the only one. I mean, there was several of them that sold. You cattle people there that could relate to Sweckies. Sweckies had a very good outing there as well. I think sales one for they had a litter of pigs, had 4 Barras in it. One at 55,000. I think one brings 40. Sells one like at 25 and one at 14. So an outstanding litter of pigs, very good, and proud to see Zach get along like that. Yeah, one of our guests tonight, Kyndal, probably anything that brings her down has to be with attached to Blake there on the side. But anyway, we'll get into that when she gets on here. But they honestly, Blake and the crew there, they were participated, had a great weekend as well. Several good hogs. Several of them went through there. The sell itself was phenomenal. I think sold 136 head and just shy of about $1 million. So it was very, very good. It's healthy for the industry, and it seems like everybody's out gung ho and ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, we said it a few years ago when COVID struck, it didn't really strike agriculture from a fear for the most part. What it did, it
Right.
made us realize just how much somebody controlled the things that we enjoy the most. And given the opportunity, these guys are resilient. They're going to buy these show cattle. They're going to buy show pigs. They're going to buy bear. They're going to buy them all. And it
Right.
don't matter. Everybody wants to win, and time is of essence. So that's awesome to hear that. So speaking of that, let's get to the herd report powered by our good friends at CCI.live. Those of you with fall sales around the corner, if you are looking for a place to have online viewing, someone to help manage part of your sale, the crew at CCI Live is incredible. Get a hold of Darla at the office, 402-643-8122. Todd, that's somebody else that you guys work with quite handily over on the pig side, right?
That's correct. Yeah, Blake has worked with CCI alongside of them now for I guess going on about 4 years with Christy and the crew there, and that's the platform that he provides to many of his customers. So it's been a game changer, in a lot of ways.
Yeah, you bet. You talked about just how big the Lackey sale was. I want to tell you something. Express Ranch's big event just happened over the weekend. And I mean, every year they go above and beyond, not in just terms of sheer quality of livestock that they can produce, but the hospitality that Bob Funk, Gerald Callahan, and crew provide you as a bidder, you as just a neighbor. They have 2 big days. They sell 463 lots to gross $6.5 million to average 13,909. Day one was impressive. 21 frozen lots in genetics, gross 241,175 to average 11,484. It was highlighted by a flush on EXAR Frontier Gal 3734 at 42,000. That evening, the big event social featured a steak dinner, the presence of the Express Clydesdales, followed by a private concert by none other than Mr. Clint Black. It was a sight for sore eyes, my friend. Day one.
Imagine.
Tell me about day two, Todd.
Yeah, day two was off and running as well. 68 fall performance. ET heifers averaged 26.15 or $26,015. 49 of the show heifer prospects, and obviously we know the number of people that inquire about that and play in that field. Those things averaged $22,673. Highlighted there on that day was LO 746 double down there on the Rita 1285 to acquire 100%, and that total of $380,000. They had a high selling show heifer prospect was lot 102, a daughter of Intuition. That was Princess 2635, and that heifer sells for $195,000. So just all the way through every aspect of the sale, I think was just termed remarkable. In all regards.
It was so strong. I went Sunday afternoon just up there to visit with guys, kind of as they say, laughing about it, shaking hands, and just visiting with folks. It was just a packed crowd with 45 lots to go. You still were fighting for a place to find a seat, and so just an incredible sale to start off the seed stock business, or continue, I should say, but early in the season. So, as with all things, the herd report. As we get into sale season, you're going to get to hear reports from CCI Live, Innovation Marketing, SC Online Sales, Steer Bidder, and Show Cattle Connections. So if you'd like to hear more about those, follow us each week. And so this week, we're also blessed here to have our friends at 605 Sires and Donors with us. They've been a corporate sponsor from the get-go. That's part of Corey's deal. Corey is away, which is a good thing because today we get blessed with Miss Melissa. She is with us tonight. Hi, Melissa. Good to have you on here.
Thank you, guys.
Good. I was Todd just a little bit ago before we started. I complimented her. I said, I've been staring at the screen, figuring out what it is you've done. You got new glasses? She said, nope, cut my hair.
Oh, there you go.
Writing off people of knowing my age, and I just laughed. And then she had to remind me that one of your kids has a birthday today, right?
Yeah, my youngest, Jackson, it turns 20 today, and it's his first day at SDSU. So I'm sure he went to class, and he is probably already studying tonight. But yeah, I no longer have any teenagers, so I need to have more than just a haircut.
No teenagers.
There you go.
I got you.
And whatever you want to believe, go ahead and believe that. So
I know. Bless his heart. He likes to have fun.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, Melissa, good to have you on here tonight. 605 Sires and Donors has had a presence with us from the beginning, and we'll just jump right to it. In South Dakota, the weather has got to be changing here before long. Guys are thinking about pulling herd bulls. When is it a good time for those guys to run those bulls to town for you guys to collect?
The day that you pull them off cows, they're already in breeding shape. They're in the athletic mode, as we say, and so they're jumping. That's usually in fall, especially when it starts to cool down just a little bit. That's usually when you're going to get your best semen quality.
I got you. Good deal. Big news hit last spring. It wasn't just here, it was all across social media, with 605's joint venture with ST in yours new sexing technologies lab that's in South Dakota. Tell us a little bit about how that's going, some response you've been getting, some results. Talk to us about how that's working.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, we're so thankful for ST for trusting us, because the product they produce and with their technology is second to none. Not only is it a great product to use in IVF and flushing, but we have complete and total faith with its AI ability, and we bred most of our cows to sex semen that we made here in our facility. Some interesting facts about making it. It's about a 14-hour process. We start at 6 o'clock in the morning to sex one bull, and hopefully we'll freeze it that night by 9:30. So it's a long process, and there are lots of procedures to follow. Also, their regulations, ST's regulations, are above par. They've checked for bacteria. We checked multiple times for motility and morphology, but also purity. Sex semen doesn't work if your purity is subpar. So if we can guarantee at least 90% purity, that's a game changer. And so that's part of the ST protocol that we're very proud to be part of. And there's very strict quality standards.
Awesome. Good deal. Have you had good results? By now, I know you guys work with the ABS crew, with
Right.
the ABS lab. Talk to us a little bit about some things you've seen with the results of using this ST semen.
Sure. The EDR rates have been great. We've had some bulls go about 50%, but I would say majority, the EDRs are about 30%, which is industry standards and very acceptable for sex semen. We got an interesting situation where we had sexed a bull that had been sexed somewhere else, and they put in embryos from both of those sires. That's where we found out that purity is important. They ended up with 25% not the right sex on the bull that was not sexed here, and 98% the right sex with the bull that was sexed here. Ooh. So purity is important, and I think that's the point that I want to get across tonight. Is you can go lots of places to get your bull sexed, but at the end of the day, if it's not what you ordered, it doesn't matter.
Absolutely. Good deal. Todd, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you there. What Melissa there in South Dakota as well? What as we talk about that, what all's going on in terms of the cattle there in the pastures? I know we're days away probably from pasture sales and things taking off. What's the talk around there?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're getting close to South Dakota club calf selling season. If you're in the area, please stop by. The quality of the club calf bulls we have here, I would say, is second to none. Not only that, though, we've got some maternal sires. There's some Angus sires here that I would say we've got 30 to 40 bulls that are AI promotional sires that you would see in all of the cattle magazines. So if you're in the area, please stop by. We'd love to give you a tour. We'd love to show you the sex semen lab. There's even some awesome donors out there that we can take you out on a four-wheeler and go look at too. So we welcome everyone, and we'll give you a free hat when you come in.
There you go.
I think one of the things too that the guys have to think about when you're out on the road and traveling, not only are you looking at those calves, you are getting to identify so many of those sires, and then when you come back by and you get to see that there's nothing more telltale than how they do and the quality that you find in the pasture. So put that together and you can actually see it and see how it works. It only adds that much more value to what you guys are doing there at 605. So I think that's awesome. But what I guess the other thing too, you talked about the sex semen and all, but in terms of 605, tell us a little bit, what all do you guys, what do you offer there? I mean, from a standpoint, what is
I think there's not hardly anything we don't offer. Right. So we could do conventional, we do sex semen, we do day jumps. We also have an embryo facility where we do IVF collections every Wednesday, and that's through ABS. We have a partnership with ABS. Their IVF lab is in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, so it's just a 45-minute drive. So that's very convenient, and we can also put in fresh. We have people at our facility that can put in the embryos. We also offer a pregnant reset program. We know some cooperator herds we can get you hooked up with. And on the sideline, we sell Sullivan Supply and Umberger feed and Vitafirm and all that kind of good stuff. So Corey Schrag likes to sell lots of different kinds of things. So if you want something, we can probably get it done for you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, there we are. I was having a little glitch on my side there for just a minute. So hey, before we run off here, October 8th, Schrag Nickel has a upcoming production sale. Is that right?
That's right. We are gearing up. As most of you know, Sammy, our daughter, is marrying Jake Nickel. And so we have merged the two operations to become Schrag Nickel. And with that, not only do I get a wonderful future son-in-law, but I also get some pretty darn nice donors that he brought up. So we're pretty excited about that. We have a strong foothold in the Shorthorn breed, and he's bringing up a couple of those donors. But There's a couple Angus. One of his Angus, his Bordeaux cow, was third overall at Junior Nationals. His Missy Primo cow was reserve at Louisville. They both have progeny in the sale. Blake Sweeter also works for us, and so he's going to sell a couple little Kim's Charolais heifers in the sale that we're awfully excited about. There's a redemption heifer that I think if you're in the market for a Charolais, you're certainly going to want to see. We also have 8 high key heifers. So if you want a high key, there's 8 of them that I would love if Jackson would ever want to show again. Love for him to show, but he says he's done and he would rather help service the customers. So that's what he's going to do. But so yeah, and plus the mains and maintainers. But we're super excited to merge the 2 operations and just breathe new life into some of our genetics, and very thankful to the Nickel family.
Awesome. Well, good deal. Well, Melissa, thank you for being on tonight. Good luck, and we will catch up with you later on.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Man, that crew has got her going on up there when it comes to talking about semen. And so, but I'll tell you, it's time to get into the ever important meat and potatoes. And with that, we will continue our endeavor through the state fair season. We've called it the Midwest State Fair season, but it's not on purpose that we skipped the West Coast Cowboys in the California Youth Expo a few weeks ago. I felt terrible when I figured this out, that we had skipped over the top of them. And we had to kind of circle back and pick up Kyndal and give her due diligence to talk about that experience. And with that, this week, we also have Dr. Ryan Rathmann will be with us, judge the ever popular Iowa State Fair. Hey, welcome to the show.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
There you go, Todd. Early on, I said it was an episode of The Bold and the Beautiful, and I think now one. So
They they easily separate themselves in what
absolutely. Kyndal, I've done nothing but apologize to you for skipping over the state fair that you were able to sort earlier. So I again will do it on record that it was not on purpose. And so thanks. And so I'll let you and Todd visit about California Youth Expo.
Well, good evening, Kyndal. How are you doing?
I'm good, Todd. How are you?
Real good, real good. So, yeah, you've everybody that's kind of followed Kyndal knows she stays pretty hooked up as well on the trail. You never know what ring you're going to see her in or find her in nowadays. I just happened to get to watch her judge a little bit there in the Big Show ring the other day, so maybe we can actually touch on that. But yeah, Kyndal, tell us a little bit about the trip to California and how that all played out and kind of what you seen there.
Yeah, it was such a great experience and a great trip. And, we get to experience the OYE crew in action in March. And then when we go to California, it was such an awesome event that they put on for those kids, Cass and Tyler Norvell. It's a production, and it's such a just neat experience, especially the Grand Drive setting. It just standing out there with the other judges. I know we all kind of got chills and our heart was beating a little faster. And it was such a neat experience. And the show itself, the steer show was great. Not huge in terms of numbers, but, I was telling some people the quality of it was so good, and a lot of different kinds. But kind of to echo off of what Jared and Calla said last week, I watched that episode, and just the presentation of the steers. I know it's been a rough summer all over, just in terms of the heat and the drought, but the steers were presented to a T, and there was incredible hair. And I mean, I was very impressed. It was quite the deal.
Well, great. So, Kyndal, we all take for granted. We all know who you are and all, and get to watch you and see you and know what all you have and accomplished so early in life. But why don't the listeners that's watching here tonight tell us a little bit about yourself, some background, and then what you are doing today?
Yeah. I grew up in Colorado, little small town in northeast Colorado. Then I continued on to Redlands Community College. I actually judged on Callis's first team there at Redlands. And we had a very successful run there. I then continued on to Oklahoma State and judged under Dr. Bloomberg for a couple years, and decided I wasn't quite done with school. And so I decided to get my master's and help him coach for 2 of the teams. And we were very fortunate to be back-to-back national champion teams, which it was a great experience. I came home after that. I missed home quite a bit. And so I'm actually now in Colorado. My family, we have a cattle operation here. We raise some show cattle, some seed stock cattle, sell to youth exhibitors. And I'm actually the livestock judging coach here at CSU at Colorado State in Fort Collins. And recently I've kind of endeavored into the pig game and have a handful of sows. So it's definitely, it's a busy time, but it's an awesome ride.
So while we have you here, let's touch on that just a moment there. We made reference that the pig game and what you've done, but just to give the listeners an idea of what you're capable of doing and all. I know you just had the opportunity to judge at the Illinois State Fair in the swine barn. So tell us a little bit about that one real quick.
Oh man, it was a blast. It was a blast. I did it. Dana Goss and I judged that together, the gilts and the barrows back to back. And we judged a lot of hogs in those 2 days. I actually just got my voice back, so we're doing good there. But it was fast paced and it was awesome. The quality of the hogs, the quality of the kids. The show was ran awesome too. And we actually got to, the Grand Drive experience was again very awesome, and just seeing the other species and the Grand Drives come together. It was quite the deal. It was something I won't take for granted or won't forget. So.
Well, that's great. I think too. We certainly don't want to steal any thunder here as Brett and Ryan talk here in a little bit, but I think you've touched on two shows that will have big significance. You touch on the Grand Drives, and I think that's one thing that our industry today has done such a good job of well recognizing these youth and those families and the projects, and the time and the effort that they've put into it, and put those kids out there on a center stage and allow to see them be rewarded the way they are. So I think that Grand Drive, today, I think anytime you ever want to show, man, it was something special. But I think winning one or being a part of one or in one today is really something. So I think that's great.
Yeah, I completely agree. I saw where you had judged Illinois Pig Show, and they said, who did you judge that with?
Dana Goss, Blake's
That's
mom.
that's what I thought. And I knew there as soon as I just got to get my dig in at my buddy here, but I knew when I saw you had her doing it, not Blake, I knew the reason why. Because as long as it's taken him to recognize lockdown talent with you, y'all would have never been able to settle on a champion pig.
Oh, no. I mean, it's funny because he's actually out in Colorado now. We're getting pigs ready to go in. And we actually just got in a big argument about a pig that we judged at Illinois. And I said, Blake, you weren't even there. How do you even know what was going on? So, Jana and I got along great, and we didn't have an argument all day long. So it was
I have to dig on him every chance I get. I just love the guy. I was just real quick. We were at the Mange Internationals. Things were starting to get pretty heated at the show. I'm a little bit on edge, thinking to myself, we're going to win this thing. And I look up, and out of nowhere, Blake comes walking in the barn. He is passing through and sees livestock trailers and just wheeled in to see what was going on. So it was awesome.
I'm not even surprised.
Hey, Ryan, we have held you up about half the night too over here. Thanks for joining with us. You had the pleasure of judging the ever exciting Iowa State Fair this past week. For those of you that don't know who you are or what you do, fill us in real quick on who Ryan Rathmann is.
Yeah, you bet. It's good to be with you, Brett. I live in Lubbock, Texas. I've got I work at Texas Tech University. I'm a professor there in a beef cattle position. Been there for, I don't know, about 15 years now, I guess. Time flies. But I've got a wonderful wife, Kayla, and we have two little girls, and Kinley and Carly. They're 13 and 10 respectively. And I'm just very blessed. We've got a good family and girls that we have a good time show Red Angus cattle that we raise. We run a small little Red Angus seed stock operation, and then show a lot of steers. I probably take that the most serious. And then my wife's family, they raise a lot of Dorper sheep, so we show sheep as well. But yeah, that's kind of my background and what I do. Love my job. Very blessed to have a job that I don't really consider to be a job. Just enjoy teaching young people and researching, and then oversee the livestock judging team, and so enjoy that as well. And Kyndal was modest. She didn't say a second ago, but her team won Houston. I'm real proud of her and the group that she's got up there, and proud of her. It's good to have young people in the coaching ranks that are doing things the right way. So, Kyndal, I commend you and appreciate the job that you do up there with those students in Colorado and reviving the program a little bit. So,
Thank you, Ryan.
Awesome. Hey, tell us what it was like. You have had the good fortune to judge a lot of shows, a lot of big name brand shows at that. But what was it like to get the call to do the Iowa State Fair?
well, it's humbling. I mean, it's a privilege, and you can't take it lightly. It's just an honor to get to do any of the state fairs or any show for that matter, and work with young people and share in their experience. And Iowa was a steer show that I'd never seen it. I'd heard a lot about it. I think had a high degree of expectation about the caliber of the livestock there.
Right.
And very fortunate to judge most of those Midwest fairs, and so I was just excited to see that one firsthand, I guess. And it was everything that I thought it would be. It was I don't know. I think they had maybe just a little shy of 400 head, but it was impressive. I mean, that's as good a livestock state as there is in the U.S., and it was just a tremendous show. I was really impressed with. I didn't know they kind of had rules like Denver where it was family fit or kids fit, and man, that was cool. It was cool to see just how well presented all the cattle were by those kids and families. That was really neat. But it was the depth of the show was very impressive.
Right. Just to read off some of these things, and we'll go back just real quick to the California crew. The champion steer there was from Brody Leo. Here I am. I got a really cool little story about that steer real quick from Matt today. That steer was raised 1 mile away from Matt Leo's house. He was purchased by Ferris Simon and then resold back to him 1 mile away. So I thought that was really pretty cool. The reserve out there was a chosen one out of the Mia donor from Gensini. She's a style Red Thunder. So you get to Iowa, Avery Shallow has champion. That was a Here I Am maternal maid Kelly from Wade Rogers and Luke Doris. Laney DeVries, I think, with a BDR from Webster, RCC, Ferguson, and Bowman. Chloe Rogers with your third overall from Bonham and Caldwell. Dalton Shanks, fourth overall, a Here I Am from Bonham. And Maddie Cohen, I think, a Here I Am from Ferguson. And so it's unique from a sire standpoint, Ryan. You have no clue when you're in there what any of these cattle are. What is very unique is sire groups as we've moved through these state fairs.
Yep, I was kind of fascinated, Brett. I mean, obviously, Here I Am is prevalent as any club calf sire across the country, but you look back afterwards and reflect on what sires you did use, and I think he sired the champion in reserve Key, the champion in reserve Maine, the champion in reserve Semi, and all 6 crossbred representatives across D1, T2, and D3. So,
Oh, wow.
I don't think he it was a drowning for his sake. But.
That's something else. And I mean, I want to ask this for both of you, Ron. I'll probably just have you start because we're visiting here, and Kyndal jump in. But when you're sorting these shows, two of you, obviously, from a livestock judge standpoint, you guys are as good as anybody from a teaching aspect and success of a team. Now it's transitioned to judging these things and placing these kids' projects for the year. When you guys are sorting these state fairs, is it a type and a kind? Is it a quality? You're not worrying about a type? What is it for you guys getting in a rhythm? What is it about sorting them that you feel like you have to do?
Well, I don't want to cut in front of Kyndal, but I don't really think that many people wake up and have some vision of, well, I'm going to go use this type and kind that day. Right. I don't. We're just going to go show up and good livestock come in different shapes, and you're going to use the one that's the best blend of those traits when they get in front of you. I do always find it kind of neat that it does matter what some of those initial breed champions look like in terms of maybe shaping some close calls that you might make later in the day. So I'll just give you an example with the Iowa State Fair. I'm very much a big proponent of, cattle that probably are a little bigger than maybe what we've typically used, and being able to maintain their composition to a weight that's, in the upper 13s or 14 plus, because that's the industry, the real industry. That's where we're at. And, early in the day, the champion key steer that I think he was 4th overall, man, he wasn't maybe perfect on his feet, but he was so impressive from a compositional standpoint, and the kind of calf that you could push to, the mid 1500s and would still be tremendously impressive from a composition standpoint. And so as the day went on, it was kind of refreshing. I just don't like, I don't like these kind of midget show cattle that maybe we've raised a little bit and that just have no real growth to them. It was refreshing because thereafter they just continuously we had really good, big performance cattle. And that was impressive to see that throughout the show, of some cattle that I personally believe if you throw them in the feedlot, we're still the type of cattle that can maintain feed conversions to these heavy weights where feeders are feeding them and close out with tremendous profit. And so, that, like, again, to maybe answer your question long, Brett, but I don't have a real vision about the one I'm going to use necessarily going into it. You go with what you got. And that was kind of what I thought was kind of the trend line with the type of cattle that they had presented with, that the kids brought to the Iowa State Fair. So.
Yeah, I actually 100% agree, Ryan. That's something that I talk about with my kids all the time. Like, good cattle, good livestock come in different shapes, sizes, colors, weights. I mean, all the above. So, you don't go into a show with kind of a preconceived notion of this is what I'm going to pick, and if he's not there, then this, it all pieces together. And at CYE that was kind of the case, because to be honest, there was a bunch of different kinds. A bunch of quality, but different kinds within the top end of that show. And so all the good cattle, they were very good. And, you just have to appreciate putting those things together, because, all of us know how expensive and how hard it is to put steers or just livestock in general together. So I think you just got to piece things together, take it when it comes, and definitely just appreciate the quality.
Awesome. You two being at universities, I think sometimes you get dubbed a little bit that I'm a judging coach. But at the end of the day, both of you are involved in production ag. Ryan, you guys are on the cattle side. We talked about the sheep side. Kyndal from a cattle standpoint and a pig standpoint. So I don't think it's really fair to just loop you in as a judging coach. My point to my question with that basis, how close today are these junior kids market animals species wise to the industry standard?
Yeah, I like your comment, Brett, about the judging coach rap, right? The people make assumptions if you're in academia that you're there because you're not capable of making it in the industry. And
that made me laugh too.
Yeah. But the reality is, you just like working with kids. And but no, Kyndal and myself both. I mean, we have strong production, grassroots, and still enthusiasts to raise great livestock. And so, anyways, it's just kind of makes me laugh. But
I had to ask it that way because I'm a victim of that, Todd. I don't know about you. Sometimes I get frustrated. It's like, dadgummit, you can't do that, or whatever. I'm not saying you guys, but I'm just saying y'all have a vast knowledge of cutting edge livestock coach teaching today. That generation of kids will be the ones that affect us down the road. But how close are the livestock today that you get to judge at California and Iowa in terms of being acceptable in industry standard?
Yeah, I kind of already spoke to that a little bit, but and people can have their own opinion. Like I said, if I personally think that Iowa was. I will say that Iowa was probably as closely related to what I think profitable cattle in the industry are from a feed conversion, performance, and who knows on grade, right? I mean, that's probably a little far out there to say, but because you're working with totally different genetic lines that aren't selected for that. But just from a strictly performance standpoint, they've got they had an average daily gain threshold of 2.3 that those cattle had to meet, and it keeps people honest in terms of feeding springborns. And so I admired, those parameters that were set. And I think you saw that manifest itself in the show in terms of the right kind of cattle with some real grow, and we can be, look across species and not to beat up the hog guys, because obviously there's a lot of steer shows in my part of the world where holdovers work exceptionally well and you play the game, right? But, we do need to keep a close eye on trying to make certain if anybody gets the privilege of being in the middle of the ring, that they do everything they can, and it's hard to read age, obviously, and you got to use what's in front of you. But we got to keep it on the up and up in terms of keeping the real industry tied with the representatives in the show ring that we're using.
Todd?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, from the CYE show, Ryan, you said steers in Iowa might have been just a little bigger. And, that's kind of industry standard right now is they're taking them a little bigger. And CYE, I would say those steers represented good market cattle from an industry standpoint. They were a little bigger. But honestly, I mean, we had steers that were maybe 4th, 5th, 6th in class that were still good cattle. They performed well, just good stock. And yet, maybe didn't have the extras for the show ring. But I think in that particular show, you can appreciate just how good doing the cattle were. They've obviously been efficient from an industry standpoint. I think things are headed in the right direction.
Good. Todd, you got anything to add to this?
Yeah, no, just as Ron alluded to, I think the topic that always wants to come up, and I don't think that it really matters about species that you're talking anymore, but everybody wants to, in the show ring, it's all about age and maturity, and I don't know that any of us can actually jump out there and say what any of them are right now because of how old some of them are or even how young some of them are. But it's how good that some of these guys do at feeding and taking care of them too. I mean, that's something that you really have to watch. And you got to watch a fine line. I mean, it's one of those things. It's something if you already know or you talk about after the fact or stand along the ringside and give a comment about, one's particular age. But when you're out there in the middle of the ring and you're lining it up, you got to, just as both of them alluded to, I mean, you got to use what's brought to you that day. And you got to look at them in that respect and analyze them. And, it's real hard. It's real hard to go down the pathway and talk about age in any regard. I think, particularly.
I'd agree. Todd made a feed off of that. If we change subject and said, what about in a breeding show where we're expected that everybody operates on a level playing field of integrity in regards to the date that animal was truly born? And it probably switches gears for me just a little bit in that environment, simply because I think there's obviously a wide range of environments that livestock need to fit across the country, and I get that. So it's not like there's a one size fits all. But my perspective on that, in more in a breeding show, probably becomes more of an individual evaluation and not so much comparative. How closely do they match their prototype? And that doesn't mean they have to be the biggest comparatively in class. And so if you go in there with that type of approach, which I think most people do, then, measuring them out in some sense in terms of bigger or more massive that may have been generated from a slight age advantage becomes, irrelevant. And so maybe handle that just a little bit differently in a breeding setting.
Right.
No doubt.
Yep. Well, if there's anybody on here that knows what it's like to be competitive, both in the ring, you two as livestock judges are competitive in and out. And there's nobody maybe more competitive right now in this show steer world in Texas than the Rathmann family. You guys have done a great job of absolutely running anybody away from wanting to show an Angus.
Well, I appreciate the compliment for Ken and Carly's sake, but yeah, we we've been very, very, very fortunate. A lot of, along the way for any family, as they get into this, you realize that, you lean on relationships, and and in that sense, I'm saying people that can help you, that can help your kids, that are doing things the right way and raising good livestock, and that are willing to help them trim feed and teach you, because you hadn't fed one in 20 years,
Right.
what some tips and things of that nature. So we've been just real blessed to have a lot of great people in our lives that have helped the girls have a lot of success.
Right. Well, it didn't come without hard work. So, congratulations to both of you. Thanks, both of you, for taking the time to be on with us tonight. Give us some insight from you guys' standpoint. But, Brian, before we go, I want to tell you, and I visited with you about this earlier, but we close every one of these things out on Cattle Drive with what's dubbed Cattlemen's for Christ. And tonight, I made sure it was okay with you.
Yeah.
Well, we got an audio that we're going to play for tonight's Cattlemen's for Christ of your champion drive speech here in just a minute. But before we let you guys go, just thank you for what you said. I really appreciate that. I've mentioned it earlier, and I'm going to say it again. Nothing probably makes me feel any better about this industry right now than where we're at when we have people of influence, and I say people of influence, people that are asked to judge these livestock shows in front of our youth, that have no problem sharing their faith in front of people. And I want to say thank you for that. So,
no problem.
Absolutely. So
we've got a bigger purpose in life. Life's pretty short, and nobody needs to be afraid to be transparent and straightforward about their beliefs. So thank you for saying that, Brett.
You betcha. Well, hey, thank you both. Kyndal, thank you for being on.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was good catching up.
Yeah, absolutely. Y'all take care.
Thank y'all.
Todd, this audio that we're fixing to play is pretty slick. Actually, Corey's the one. Corey said, Brett, you've got to listen to this. This is so awesome, that what this guy had to say, and I texted him and just made sure he was cool with me playing this audio. My tag crew gets it to us. But I asked him what his favorite Bible verse was that would go with this, and he texted me back and said Mark 12:31 was one of his favorites, and he said, "Love your neighbor as yourself." And I thought that was really cool. If you can't love yourself, if you need to love your neighbor, just pretend it's you. And I thought that was really cool. So we'll close out Cattlemen's for Christ tonight real quick with a 2-minute video snip of the Iowa State Fair speech.
Be unselfish, being a selfless human being. And I said, in today's times, I know you got to look out for you, but start looking out for everybody around you, and that's what's going to bring your life joy. And that's the way the Lord is going to want to see you operate in your life to best please Him. And so there's a good example. You kids, I said that a second ago in the Market Heifer Drive. Y'all have to recognize the blessings that y'all have received. And you have to understand that you are challenged to put that forward one day. Don't be a spoiled byproduct of this ring. Be one that gives back tenfold relative to what you've received. And so I was up there talking to these gentlemen on that interview, and Chad said, man, we really enjoyed your energy, and I appreciate that compliment. And I said, well, guys, why not get up every day and attack things and put a smile on your face and enjoy what you're doing? Not just the kids down here in the arena floor, but every single one of us. If you're taking for granted the blessings that you have in your life, you need to look around and start counting them and focus on the positive. For every one of us, our mom chose life. Our Lord put us in the United States of America. That's where we were born. He put y'all, and this is hard for a Texan to say, but in a great state like Iowa. And then he equipped you with people around you that are good friends and people that want to see the best come out in you. And so just focus on that. Focus on the good and operate with energy, because we are certainly way more blessed than what we receive. And so I hope you kids keep that in mind. As far as the steel.
Well, there we go. If you'd like to listen to more of it, you're welcome to. You can find that. I think the MyTag crew's the one that did that for Iowa State Fair. But man, I'll tell you, it's just it's cool to me to see that, to see guys young like Doc Rathmann that does not have a problem at all giving some guidance to these kids away from that livestock show. And in the big picture, Todd, as competitive as we all like to be, as we try to be, the message there of there's a bigger purpose and there's more important things in life. It's a joy for me to understand that. Brandon Callis made a comment this week that floated around social media. Sometimes it's not your day. Be thankful and rejoice with those ones that it was their day. And there's big messages there.
Huge. And I think, just to spin off that a little bit there, Brett, one of the things there that he said in there was, the opportunity for those to give back. And I think that for so many, I think that needs to hit home maybe a little harder. And it's not so much from a monetary standpoint, because, I tell people all the time, we have the opportunity to travel around, and I do a lot of camp clinics, talks, in different scenarios and arenas. And I always tell kids that, it doesn't matter how your day went or what, but it doesn't cost much to look in the eye and shake their hand and say thank you. And those things kind of go a long way. And at the same time, those of us that have been blessed to do so many things and to be a part of things, it is good to step up and do things. I guess the thing that I'll leave with and saying any of that is the fact that there's always eyes on all of us, and we learn that so much, and there's a lot of young eyes that's watching a lot of the older ones that watch the young ones. I think when you understand that and you have a feel for that, makes you a better person.
Yep, absolutely. You bet. Yeah, it was good. It was good stuff. I just wanted to commend him for that. And so hey, thanks for being on with us tonight. I know you've got a trip planned, and we weren't going to be able to snag you until mid-September, and we were able to have you on tonight. I enjoyed having you, Todd.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and glad I was able to. And more importantly, anxious to see Corey back, in the time. But thank you for allowing me to be here. And hopefully we'll enjoy this weather we're getting for a few days and maybe get some rain with it.
Oh, I'll just keep taking cool weather and rain. So you bet. Hey, take care. Tell Blake hello, and we'll catch up with you on the flip side.
Sounds good. Thank you.